Welcome to a Drupal tutorial. This tutorial will quickly guide you on how to make your website searchable on at least on starting on Google search. So we have an example website that we need to check how it fares on its current status on Google search. So our website is this has this domain or this URL. So what we do is to put in site operator and put that on search. Use the site operator and put the domain. This way, if we do that, we could immediately see how Google search is currently indexing the website. And it seems it only so far it it only gets at least two of those pages of the website, the homepage and the contact page. So we need to improve that. So essentially, Google needs to understand, we need to provide Google search, sort of a manual, sort of a guide to tell it that this website has more than that, has more pages than that, than those, and to be able to tell Google that properly and efficiently. Google search needs to see that there is an XML sitemap from your website. And this sitemap would normally look something like this. This is for Drupal, so it will look something like this. But any website that needs a sitemap would normally generate sitemap.xml, whether you're using WordPress Yoast, WordPress Rank Math, or in this case, Drupal XML sitemap. In short, installing a module called XML sitemap for Drupal will enable you to generate a sitemap. So now this video will teach you how to configure the XML sitemap so that you get a very good sitemap which you can submit to Google Search Console or GSC to help Google understand and better find your URLs so that these URLs will easily come up in the search console. All right. So first thing is you need to log into your website, to your Drupal website, and install a module called XML sitemap. And in this case, we have already installed that, but on first instance, upon uploading, you need to enable these three modules that come with the XML sitemap module. Basically, you need a Drupal module called XML sitemap. So that's what we need to install, this one. So once you have installed that, it will look something like this. And you need to enable those. And I've already enabled those by checking those three boxes and clicking install, meaning to enable after uploading it. So once that's enabled, you can actually go into setting up the sitemap already. At this point, you may or may not have already a working XML sitemap because sometimes you need to configure it. Okay, by default, if you configure XML sitemap, you would immediately, the XML sitemap is immediately generated, but you need to go into the settings and, check if your web pages can already be included in the sitemap. So to do that, by default, only the front page is enabled, but I already did something else for the rest of the content. So to do that, the first step is to go to sitemap entities and make sure include contents, because in Drupal you have a lot of contents, right? Include contents that need to be included in the sitemap. And basically, the content types that I need, for example, checking in your content listing, you can immediately see what are those contents that need to be indexed. So to identify which contents or content types that needs to be indexed, you may probably want to filter and check out if you have those contents. and identify which content should be indexed and included in the sitemap. So basically, in short, I need the articles, basic pages, full page, projects, and services. Essentially, I need everything. All right. So going back to your XML sitemap, click on sitemap entities and click on content and probably include everything and save. But this is just telling the XML sitemap module what to include. You still need to go to your settings because at this point, if I refresh this page, it will now say that, of course, beside the front page, which is already included and set to the highest and frequency by default always, at this point, I need to check that my content, these are now already enabled after doing the settings under sitemap entities. And as you can see, uh, by default, when I included those are excluded. So we still need to click on each of that. Okay, I'm clicking that on entering new tab to actually say, so for example, the article content type needs to be included. By default, it was excluded, even if you already enabled that. So you need to include that, and based on the content type, these articles should be, normally these are news articles, so they should be prioritized as normal. And I guess this is just a preference on the first instance that I will resubmit that to Google. I always put that to always, but be careful with the frequency. It may affect how Google will try to crawl and index your websites. If you have a very lot of pages, like thousands and thousands, you might want to, be careful with this because you will be requesting Google search bots to, uh, to visit your website. How frequent will they visit? So if you have a very large number of URLs, you might want to budget those. But in my case, this is just a few pages. So, and I would want this to set to always, my first time to submit that to Google search. And I will do that as always. So, and the priority just normal for news articles. So for my basic pages, probably those are also important. So I'll set that to always but just normal. But, and everything else, okay, this one I have not set it yet, so I'll include that now. Prioritize that as normal also and always for the first time sitemap submission. For the projects, this is sort of, just normal priority. And last is the services, which is kind of important because this is really actually the money pages. I would want the priority to be higher than normal, but of course lower than the home page. So I'll set the priority to 8 and save that. And after doing all those, we would want now to refresh this page, going back again to settings. You can see now that there are, on the content, these are all now included and the priority is set. And of course, the available URLs that can be included in the sitemap. Right now, as you can see, these are still 0, meaning they were not indexed, meaning they were not included in the sitemap yet. So the next step is to actually rebuild or generate or regenerate, in this case, regenerate the sitemap. In your case, that will be the first time. So by this time, if I go to rebuild, probably in your case, you will not see anything yet. So just save the configuration so that it will generate. In my case, I'll just need to regenerate it and save, and it will start generating. So at this point, it has now generated. And if I go back to the settings, it has now generated all those URLs. So now you can see that from the available, 6 have been indexed and so on and so forth. So sometimes there are pages that you do not want indexed, for reasons like, terms and conditions, privacy, some unnecessary pages. Those are the things that you can control by page level. So in Drupal, you go to content where you can see all your pages. So for example, the thank you page, the thank you confirmation that we have for this, for those submitting a contact form submission. We do not want that index. So what I'll do is probably go in there and edit that page, and under sitemap, on the page level under sitemap, there is a setting that will say on the page level, I will exclude this. All right. And then save that. So therefore, going back to your settings, it only makes sense that if you click on content, at this point, if I refresh this page, I always do the flash cache to refresh the page. You will now see under content, and for your basic page, oh, wait, let me double check. That shouldn't be included already in the sitemap since we already excluded that. So basically, once you have generated the rebuild, no? Every time you have changes, like, in this case, I have excluded some pages, you need to again regenerate the sitemap to exclude or to include, depending on what you will do. All right. So at this point, if I rebuild that, and if I go to the settings and refresh this page, I can now see that I have made some exclusions. So therefore, if I rebuild that already, right, after rebuilding that, if I go back to my sitemap now and click on refresh, I can now see that, okay, everything has been included already, except for the thank you page, right? So from out of the, oh no, but it's there. So maybe since this is just one of these, this is the content page. Thank you page. What's the URL of this? This is thank you. So check. Okay, it's not included anyway. So I think it's just a cache thing. All right. So that is now, you have now a working sitemap at this URL. Okay, this is it. That you can submit to Google search. At this point, you need to double check that everything is in place. Everything included should be there, and everything not to be included should not appear there. It should not appear there. So going now to your next step is we now have a working sitemap that we can now uh, submit to Google Search Console. So I'm opening my Google Search Console from another window. So let me check if we have already an iDigital. So at this point, looking at my Google Search Console, I do not have an iDigital. I have not, I have not included that, I have not signed up or integrated the website yet to Google Search Console because we were not ready yet. But this time, since we are already ready, we can now um, add the property. It's called the property, adding the account. And, follow the example here. Use the URL prefix and remove any trailing slash based on the example provided here. No trailing slash. Continue and verifying. So the verification process for GSC will sometimes require you to do some certain things. Like for example, you need to verify that by, I would go to this method. There are many different ways to verify your GSC ownership. But from all of these, this is probably the easiest and faster. I'll need to download this HTML file by provided by Google Search Console. And once I have downloaded that, I need to, the instruction was to upload that to the website's root directory. So in this case, I need to open my probably just cpanel or probably FTP. So I'm doing that from another console, kindly hold. So I need to upload that file. So I already have this file now. I've already downloaded that, so I need to upload that. So we cannot show that, we cannot show the screen for for the cPanel for safety purposes. So, but going to the cPanel's file manager, I can upload that under, depending on your web hosting. So the website is under public HTML, and that's where I will upload that verification file provided by Google. So kindly hold, I'm uploading it. All right. So once that's already uploaded, which I already did, you can actually check the uploaded file if it's already in the if Google Search Console can see that file already. So basically, this should be viewable and accessible from here. Public HTML uploaded verification file from Google. So if you put that in your browser, it should now see that that file is there. So once that file is there, you can now verify it because Google can see that now publicly. Anyone can see that publicly. It's not really an issue. Okay, so once that's done, verified, go to property because it's already here. At first instance, you really do not have anything yet because you have just set it up. So check again in a day or so. So the next step, what we need to do is to immediately go to sitemaps on this part here because you can now say or tell Google that the sitemap is now ready. Okay, the sitemap is now ready for crawling by Google. So it needs to see that it needs to crawl your 31 URLs. So it's a guide for Google search. The reason why, they include that in the Google Search Consoles, the sitemap submission. So that is, it's a tool for you to provide Google and tell Google that, hey, there's a new website and this is the URLs that you need to crawl or you need to update or you need to recrawl or reindex, right? And submit it. So basically that's the process. So for some reason, if there are things like, couldn't fetch, although if you click on it, sitemap has been processed successfully. Probably it's just a temporary issue. Let me see. Yeah, success. So once you have now a successfully submitted the Google search, the sitemap XML to Google Search Console. It's now just a matter of waiting time, to monitor when Google will actually start showing those URLs in your search engine result pages or in your search. So maybe just revisit that probably a day or so, or at least after a week. In our experience, how fast it will really depend on how Google sees your website. Is your website really that credible, or is your website really that big? There are things like that, those are factors that Google sometimes prioritize websites. Are your websites really that very important, which they will have to recrawl more frequent, or just one of those many basic websites, or small to medium websites that they do not really need to highly prioritize. But in our experience, websites like this, you could probably check that in the fastest that we have seen for websites for website sizes like this. Probably in 2 days or 3 days, they start coming up. But sometimes it will not be in one go. Sometimes they come in piecemeal, Safest after 1 week, you could probably see your URLs already coming in. And what are those URLs? The ones that you have provided in your sitemap. So I hope this helps. If you need some help with other things for Drupal SEO, we also have another video for Drupal meta tag. So it's a closely related initiative for SEO really, but it's really for social media. But these things work hand in hand. So check it out. So if you have questions, just check us out. So we are ibuild.ph. based in the Philippines, but we operate all over. So we provide a lot of things, a lot of services, web development, web hosting, training and seminars if you need some training, technical on-page SEO, we do that a lot, e-commerce website development, website maintenance and support, and anything else, very technical. All right, we practically do a lot of things, not just Drupal. We also do a lot of WordPress, even Magento, Shopify. We even still have things like Joomla. People still reach out for us for their native Joomla websites. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. Thanks.